It's another episode of the Next Fix podcast, and we're doing things a little differently here. I reached out, right, just to see how many of us are out there that are willing to share their stories. And Josh hit me back rather quickly, and so I feel so blessed to have him with us sharing his story, a comeback story, right? And that's what we all want. We all want comeback stories, and Josh has decided to let us know about his. And so, Josh, just real quick, like as a real quick overview, what's your name? Where are you from? Where are you at right now? And just get a real quick intro of who you are.
Okay, man. My name is Josh. I'm from Riverside, California. Right now, I currently live in Hacienda Heights, California, which is just another part. A lot more money here. I got to do a little bit of upgrades since I got clean.
Yeah, right.
A little bit about me. I'm a union iron worker with Local 433. I have a very rigorous job where I'm surrounded by personalities and surrounded by brothers that are still using and brothers who
Wow.
aren't. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's kind of like a crazy little cesspool we got going on at work where you're
Yeah.
either like white knuckling it or you're in your active addiction. But
Wow.
somehow it gets done. You know what I mean?
That's nuts. That is nuts, man. And yeah, we're going to dive into that deep, brother. And you look healthy as an ox, man. I mean,
Thank you.
you're rocking the wife beater. And I'm thinking to myself like, damn, I got to do some more push-ups, brother. I don't know, man. I'm feeling lazy. I'm feeling lazy right now. But
Now
that's
this is the job, dude. It's
awesome,
the
man.
job. It's
But hey, man,
rigorous.
you look great, but I'm sure you didn't always
Thank
look
you.
great, right? So that's what we want to hear about.
No,
Like,
man.
when did shit look like, nasty for you? We want to know about the rock bottom. What did it look like when the train came off the tracks, brother?
Shit. But it looked like when the train came off the tracks, well, like I said, I'm a union iron worker. In 2020, I got kicked out of my trade as like a sixth
Okay.
grade apprentice because of my using. And you get and when you get kicked out of the ironworker school you're using, like you might want to address that shit.
Yeah.
I didn't address it obviously because I was just full blown in my addiction. It was 2020, and after that, getting kicked out of my trade, I no longer had a good job. So ways and means to get more started to get like sketchier and sketchier and fraudier, and I found
Right.
myself in and out of jail.
Right. Well, hold on a second, brother. Let me back up a little bit, and so all right, you have a good job. I know. I was in the union. I was a union bartender in Vegas. So I
Okay,
union jobs are sweet, and you're right. You don't want to lose that shit, right? But what were you using? What were you into?
I was smoking meth.
Okay,
That
sure.
meth is my DOC. It's not the drug. It's not like I drink alcohol and I run straight to meth. No, I just run straight to meth. Like smoking dope was like my favorite thing to do in the world, and
Right.
I had a lot of gnarly side effects. Like as far as how it affected because at first the meth was doing something for me. Eventually, that shit started doing something to me. And the level of denial was so deep, I just wasn't noticing how bad I was really getting until
Right.
like you were talking about, like that end of the road. After about 5 years of not having a good job, smoking meth, and just burning every bridge I'd ever came across, I would always tell my tweaker friends, like, look, under these circumstances of if they give me my job back, I'll quit smoking. Under those
Wow.
circumstances.
Right.
And I never thought them circumstances were going to come. Why would you just randomly call some dude you kicked out for meth, years prior? It turns out they did call me and they said, we're going to give you your job back. And I
What?
was like, yeah, I was surprised everybody. I was like, what the fuck? Really? Finally, things are finally looking my way. And they said, check it out. Like, you just have to show up in 4 weeks to this meeting, and you're going to give us a piss test. Let us check you out, make sure you're clean. So I'm like, yeah,
Right.
I can do that.
Well, so hold,
So
hold on a second. Hold on a second, Josh. So I'm imagining there's some kind of boss or some kind of friend, right? You've got somebody who cares about you inside still, right? And maybe they knew what you were up to, right? To kind of give you that heads up. Was that like,
yeah, I'm actually glad you brought that up because it's something that's hard to talk about, but I still like to talk about it because people need to know. There's this dude named Jesse Francia. He stuck his neck out there for me, and he made sure that they saw me in that meeting. So this dude
Right.
Jesse was like that one person that believed in me when nobody else in the whole entire world did. And he had just heard from the grapevine that I wasn't in the union anymore. We talked in person, and he was like, "I'm gonna get you back in." And I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." So when that call came through, he was like, "All right, bro, you got 4 weeks to get clean. I got my neck out there for you. Like, let's see it. Let's make it happen." Well, I really thought I had some type of power over the disease of addiction, whereas if me saying I'm going to stop meant I was going to stop. So when I got 4 weeks to get clean, the disease, my head, my thoughts said, no, we got 2 weeks to get clean, 2 more weeks to use. And I was like,
Okay, I
yeah.
see. I see what you're saying. So you the addict mind, right? You're doing the math like, oh, well, that's cool because I got 2 weeks to really just go crazy, and then I'll do it in the other 2 weeks. Wow.
Anybody can
Okay.
get clean in 2 weeks. My head is telling me anyone will do it. Why wouldn't you get clean in 2 weeks? Well, 2 weeks is here. And then the disease, my thoughts, my thinking, my attitude, and my behavior said, no, we got 1 more week to use, 1 more week to get clean.
Boy. Yeah.
And I smoked for 1 more week. So at this point, I was supposed to get clean 3 weeks ago. And then I got 1 week to get clean, to go from making like no dollars an hour to like 6 period pay was like $47 an hour. Why would I not stop?
Right.
And then 7 days turns into 6, 5, 4. And by the third day, I got 3 days to get clean. I should have got clean 27 days ago. I start
Oh,
to notice that I'm crying as I'm lighting that pipe because I want to stop, but I don't know how to stop. And I literally cannot take that pipe out of my mouth. And I'm telling myself, like, you're going to blow it again, dude. Like, for one, I already blew it like about 3 weeks ago. I blew it,
sure. Sure.
but I could not figure out why I could not stop smoking. And then before you know it, it's an hour before the meeting.
My God. Oh my God. And you're still going, huh?
I'm still going and I cannot stop. And see, I've been in and out of the rooms of 12-step fellowships for like 15 years at this point. So I seen that word powerless on the wall, and I thought powerless just meant it takes me to places I don't want to go to. I didn't truly understand what powerless meant. I heard what using against my will. I thought I knew what that meant, but crying as you're lighting that pipe, that's using against your own will. And this disease had me by the balls, and that's when I truly hit a rock bottom because I looked in the mirror and I could no longer be in denial that I had a serious problem going on. This is
Yeah.
more than a drug problem. There's something in my self-destructive personality that cries for failure. And I didn't know it was the disease of addiction. I thought, dude, you just like to smoke dope so much. As it turns out, through the process of step work, I learned that not only did I not want to get clean for all them years, I didn't want to grow up. Because if I get clean, then accountability is going to have to come next. Then if I get this
Sure.
job and it goes through, then I'm gonna have to like go to the work every day. Then I got to start paying rent. My dad's gonna start charging me rent and food. Like I'm only 33. You know, that's what my head's telling me.
Right. Right.
I didn't want to grow
Oh
up,
my God.
dude. I didn't want responsibilities, and that's what crystal meth did for me. It helped me avoid my responsibilities and avoid life. Reality was so painful that oblivion was just preferable.
See, hold on a second. Hold on. Say that again, brother, because that's that's powerful, man. Say that again. That blew my mind.
Reality became so pain. Reality was so painful that oblivion was preferable.
Well, first of all, you nailed it. And if you came up with that off of the hip, brother, I
Nah,
mean,
that ain't,
that's poetry. That's poetry, man. That is so wild. But hey, man, that's like that is a very accurate. That is a very accurate statement, and it's very well thought out because there's a lot of emotion in every word that you chose, man. And
I didn't
so,
choose that. That's from the Narcotics Anonymous Basic Text. And I don't represent Narcotics Anonymous, but that is the fellowship that I attend. And that's from our basic text.
man, you really know your stuff, man. My father was he was an NA guy. I
Okay,
personally,
cool.
I wasn't. wasn't in the rooms, but my father, he's 13 years sober now, but he's a big
Oh,
NA
good.
guy.
Hell yeah.
But man, you know your stuff, brother. But well, I want to know though. Okay, so you show up to this meeting, and I'm imagining it's clear as day. You're not clean. Like so. What exactly happens next?
What happened next was, you're right. I showed up to a meeting because at one time in my life, I remembered I was able to stay clean for a little bit. And I'm also telling myself, fuck the job. If I keep doing this, I'm going to die. Either I'm going to die or I'm going to kill myself. I can't handle not one more failure. But getting that phone call about maybe getting a job, that gave me a little bit of hope to want to live. So I went to a meeting, and you're right, dude. I was new and I looked new. I was missing most of my teeth. I was about 30 pounds lighter than I was. Just smoked out, all shot
Yeah,
out when I walked in. And it was a men's stag in the city of Contreras. So it was all men's meeting. And I see that there's these guys that they had tattoos like me. They looked like they'd been to the places that I'd been, but they looked like they
right.
had their stuff together. I saw a bunch of lifted trucks outside. There's a lot of business owners that go to that meeting, but I was like, yo, I got to get a sponsor or something. Cause I know I already have experience in the rooms at this point. And then I'm praying to God, like, God, I'm going to need you to send me a sign that means you want me to stay here. And then I see walking into a meeting is my buddy, Billy. And Billy had, like, we knew each other from NA years ago, but it was under my understanding that he was out there like me. And then I was like, yo, what are you doing here? Like, he was all clean cut and shit. So I was like, what are you doing at this meeting? And he said, oh, I'm taking a cake tonight. And I'm like, oh shit, so you're celebrating 1 year clean? And he said, no, I'm celebrating 3 years clean. And I was like,
Okay, so hold on. You gotta explain to me, brother, because I truly I don't know. Is that standard? Like when you say taking a cake, that's what you do?
you celebrate it like a birthday. It's like a
Okay.
birthday, man. And yeah, the
I
because
had no idea. I had no idea. Okay, so he's taking a cake 3 years in, and now and he's starting to hit you. You're starting to kind of figure out like, oh shit, Billy's like got it together.
work for Billy, maybe it'll work for me. So after the meeting, man, I asked Billy to be my sponsor. And I bought that NA Basic Text I was telling you about with the last $20 that I had. Because I knew if I went home with that $20, I was going to buy dope with it. I would have talked myself into it, and it would have sounded like an amazing idea at the end of that
Right.
10-minute drive.
Right. The best idea ever. Like if I don't do this, man, I don't know
Stupid,
what's gonna
yeah.
happen. I better do this, you know?
So life, and yeah, my wants become needs, dude. And I spent the money in that way only because I was scared of myself. I was finally being honest with myself that we don't know how to stay clean. So I asked that dude Billy, I was like, look, man, like I don't need to ride home. I don't need a friend. Like I need a sponsor. I don't want to live like this anymore. Like, could you please just help me out? Like I need your help. And he was like, I'll be your sponsor. Like we're gonna get to work. And I was like, fuck me work. Like, and he was talking
Yeah,
about,
when he said that, did it like spook that Peter Pan side of you that doesn't want to grow up? Like
oh
did you just
yeah,
like,
oh yeah, exactly what it did. So
man,
on point the way you said that. So that's exactly what it did. But at the same time, when you're missing most of your teeth and you're 33 years old and you're finally getting honest with yourself that normal 33-year-olds do not look like the way that we look, you
right.
tend to stop listening to yourself. I stopped listening to my thoughts. I stopped
Wow.
thinking that I knew anything, like anything. I would be like, all right, Billy, like I legit, homie, I need you to show me how to stay clean today. And he said, go home and read some of that book and call me in the morning. And I was like, that's so stupid. I've been smoking dope for 10 years. What is a little bit of reading going to do? And he was like, just go home and read it. Like, what choice do you have? And I was like, all right, you're right.
Right.
So I remember reading this chapter called Recovery and Relapse, and it's about recovery and relapsing. And it was so on point about like my mindset, my attitude, my behavior, my patterns that I throw myself into. That was like somebody wrote a book about me. And then I
That's how
remember
you felt? You felt like this is written about you, like it was that accurate, huh?
there was that night that I truly accepted the fact that I am an addict and that this book applies to me. And I learned that night that if I just follow simple direction, I stop listening to myself, I could stay clean for at least one day. And that night, I remember kind of reading and dozing off a little bit after I'd been crying for the hours. I remember dozing off and being like, fuck, I got a day. like dozing off, like I got a day. Like he said at the meeting, all I needed was one day and I can get started. And sure enough, like I looked at my phone and I was like January 24th, 2023. Like that's my clean date. And a part of me was also like, I wonder how long we're going to keep this one for.
Uh-huh.
Because I just knew how to relapse. I didn't know how not to relapse. All I knew was this
Wow.
guy, Billy, had some good suggestions today. Let's take a suggestion tomorrow.
Dude, that's such a hold on. That's another nugget. That's like, yeah, I'm so sorry, man. I'm trying to like, I don't want
No,
to
you're
screw it
good,
up.
dude.
Like, you only knew how to relapse. You didn't know how to not relapse, right? I mean, grammatically it's a mess, but it makes sense to me, brother. Cause like, it's like your awareness of what that means and how to do it. And you've already said that, like, you didn't know how to stay clean,
I didn't
right?
know
And
how to stay
so,
clean.
wow. So you've got 24 hours. You look down, right? You've got your sober date, and you've got Billy now, right? So and by the way, I also think that 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 first choice of the $20 and spending it on the book, that was the
Yeah,
first win that I heard. Like in my mind, I'm like, that's a win. That is a stone cold W. And I think but then little wins stack and they get bigger
exactly.
faster.
Exactly.
And so, okay, so you're 24 hours clean. You've got Billy, and then you look down at your phone. You took a nap, right? So it's like there's a little tiny light, right? So what happens after that?
What happens after that is I did the same thing that I did that day before. I went to a meeting. I called my sponsor and I read and I prayed. And then I did the same thing the third day. After about a week, Billy had me doing working step one. And he's like, look, if I'm going to be your sponsor, you have to have a home group. A home group is a meeting that you attend regularly. It's like my home group is on Thursday nights in the city of Riverside. Like that's my home group. No matter what, you can catch me there Thursday night
Okay.
from 7 to 9. And I'm like, okay, I got to get a home. He had to explain to me what a home group was. I was like, okay. He's like, just pick a meeting you like going to. And he took me to this big meeting in Riverside. There's like 100 addicts that go every week. And I was like, I could pick up a service family here. Like there's people that are kind of young like me. Like I could fuck with these people. And sure enough, like they have these things called business meetings where they discuss like, how the meeting is being ran. They discuss like service positions, like coffee guy, the greeter, the treasurer, stuff like that. And that's where a newcomer will go to the business meeting to get a commitment. So the only commitment that this meeting had was like the backup coffee person. So my ego was like, yo, I want to be the main coffee person. And then they reminded me there's 100 addicts that show up every day. It's a lot of work. So I was like, I'll be back up. So and I didn't even want to be, like I said, I wanted to be the main one. And I kind of was going to back out. And then I took a look at the secretary, which she's kind of like in charge of the meeting.
Uh-huh.
And I remember looking at her and being like, damn, she's hot. Like I get to see her once a week. I'll be the backup coffee person then. She like took
Hey,
the coffee.
listen.
Yeah.
Hey, I'll take the mindset of me when I was 15 over the mindset of a meth addict. Like that if you get motivated by seeing that girl every week, then yeah, man, that's a heck of a lot better of an aim or motivation than that pipe.
You can't be
So
coming back, dog. You can't be coming back. It's like, you can do the right thing for the wrong reasons. And
yes, that is the truth, brother. And so, like, you're explaining this role, this task is like the coffee person. I want you to speak into this because I feel like you can do it well, right? It's clear you understand it. Like, how much was your ego? Like,
oh, the ego, fuck, that was the first thing to recover, man.
yeah,
An
yeah,
addict's ego. I can honestly say my ego has caused me more problems in my life than crystal
yeah.
meth ever did.
Wow.
My
Yeah,
my ego is what told me when I was using, we don't need to go back to NA. You don't need to get clean. My ego says I don't need a sponsor. My ego says even when I'm clean, my ego says like, who do you think you're talking to as I'm in a meeting? My ego will I've lost jobs because of my ego. That who do you think you're talking to attitude.
right. I
Don't
keep
you
it
know?
real.
Yeah,
It's
don't
like
you
at
know
the
who
worst.
I think I am, dude?
Don't you know? I think I am.
Like if you knew me or who I think I am, you wouldn't talk to me. Like my ego, man, can change my entire perspective on life. And
It's the truth.
it literally determine whether or not I'm going to have a good day, or am I going to humble myself and have a good day? Or am I going to feed into this false, like this false ego that I held up all because I picked it up at a young age. I think we all do, because we don't want to, I
Right.
did it because I don't want to let people in. That if I can be just
Right.
a little intimidating, it'll keep you far enough away from me, and you can't hurt me if I keep you far enough away from me.
Sure. Yeah.
And
And you kind of look like Max Holloway. You ever heard that?
I don't think I've
You
ever heard that
know,
before.
Max Holloway, he's a UFC fighter. He's a badass, but you look a lot like that.
He sounds good looking in the bad.
He sounds good looking. So, but you're right, man. You know, like we do all this dumb stuff, especially as men, right? Like it's so much. It's just such bullshit, man. You know what I mean? It's like, oh man, how many girls you been with? Oh, I don't know, thousands. I'm like, well, I've been hanging out with you for years. I've never even seen you kiss a girl, bro. Like, what do you, you know, like it's like we had this need. We just want so bad to be that guy and be tough and all this stuff, and then you add a layer of fog and a lack of clarity with that drugs gives you. All of a sudden, you've got every green light in the world to be a complete ass, right? And so, but yeah, so what did you feel like? You're showing up to this meeting and you're taking the backup coffee position, right? You know, like I guess what kind of work did you find useful in you know, and I'm sure you're still doing it, right? What kind of work did you find useful in working with or against your ego? I mean, like how do you make it work to deal with your ego?
Well, I had to get real honest with the fact that my ego didn't reflect my reality. The reality is I couldn't stay clean. The reality is I was missing most of my teeth. And the reality is I was like 130 pounds soaking wet, wet and wearing boots. The reality is I was trying to get clean again. Like, you
Yeah.
don't smoke that shit and not try to get clean. This is like the 87th time I try to get clean. Like, and it always failed miserably. So once I started to get a little bit more in touch with my reality, like, just shut the fuck up and be the backup coffee person, and just stop thinking that you know how to stay clean, and just shut up. Just a lot of my problems that got fixed when I got clean because I learned to just shut up and just go with the flow, dude. And then go figure, as I'm complaining about this coffee backup spot, the very next week, the coffee person was overwhelmed with the work. They found out there was a backup and they left. So it's like God answered my prayer. I was now the coffee
Wow.
person.
All
Yeah. And
right.
for 100 addicts. So I got the coffee all nice, the coffee pot perfect. Like the cups were all stacked, and then the napkins were good. Cream and sugar was perfect. And then this crazy shit happened. 100 addicts showed up and made a mess. And then I'm sitting there, dude, just watching this. I'm like, okay, now I got to mop after these grown ass people. I got like a week clean, by the way. And then I was gonna quit too. I was like, dude, forget this. I don't want to do this. F this and F that. And then one of the predecessors, like the elders, one of the older guys was like, yo, we understand you didn't sign up for this. If you don't want to do this anymore, like, it's okay. And then he must have saw me looking over at that secretary chick, because he looked over at her and he was like, hold on real quick. She got her and she's like, so are you going to make coffee next week? And I was like, yeah, why not? Like, it would be an honor to make coffee for you.
So anxious, man. I hope she's like right off camera, and I hope that you are getting all married. Like I'm excited, man. But yeah, man, this is huge, man. This is huge. And for anybody that doesn't understand, like the power of him sticking with that position
Yes.
and showing up and doing it and telling his ego to shut the hell up and just clean up this mess. Like those are so many massive milestones for a person trying to get their act together. It's gold. It's gold, man. So, man, that's amazing. So,
Well, they're
what
principles.
happened? You keep coming back?
I kept coming back, and I showed up every week along with other meetings. I stopped worrying about trying to get her attention because, mind you, I'm missing most of my teeth. So, like, I wasn't exactly
Okay.
like on anyone's radar.
You got to get some. You got some work to do. Okay, I got
Humility.
it.
I practice humility. I got to practice service, because you're talking about like how all these decisions are monumental. Really, what those decisions were was I was practicing spiritual principles. I was practicing honesty with myself, that we need to do this. Open-mindedness, willingness, service, and let's see, there's a bunch of other ones like humility. And all of these spiritual principles, I always believe that are what connect the addict or the human being. Forget the addict part. Just connect the human being with the God of their understanding are these principles. Because I learned principles growing up, like don't let another man call you the B word. Look both ways before you cross the street. Some of these principles were good for you, some weren't good for me. But when I got
Yeah.
these spiritual principles I live by, they came from somewhere. You know what I mean? I believe they come from the God of my understanding. So once I was able to start living by principle and not by defect, not by ego, I found it a lot easier to stay clean just one day at a time. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
All right. So, well, okay. So then how long did that go for? Right. I want to know, like, what developed. Obviously, it worked, right? And so, and really, you're still showing up every Thursday, right? And so, in that journey, like, how else did you start putting your life together, or what other parts like came into play, or maybe even some challenges? Like, what else were you kind of coming up against?
That first year, man, it was tough, but it wasn't tough at the same time. I was grateful to be alive. I was grateful to have a sponsor. I was grateful to be working steps and to get a better understanding of myself. I literally changed everything in my life, man. I went through this really hard situation at like 45 days clean. That dude, Jesse, I ended up getting back into my job. He got me another interview. I showed up to that interview. They gave me the job back because I really was clean. I had like 34 days clean. And I got put on Jesse's job. And it was a job in the desert. I was staying in the city of Indio at a Motel 6 where the disease of addiction was alive and well. I could have picked up at any second I really wanted to. If you're a dope fiend, you know how to pick up. I could have picked up
Right.
whenever I wanted to. And then
Yeah.
at 3 days into that job, I I got this news and they said, "Hey, it's Jesse." And I'm like, "What about him?" And they said, "Jesse overdosed this morning and he's not going to be coming in to work anymore." And I remember thinking like, "What the fuck, man? Like I just got clean.
Right.
This is a good fucking reason to use. Nobody will get mad at me if I use right now." And then at this point, I'm used to calling Billy. Newcomers, this is why we call our sponsor. I was already primed to call Billy, and I called Billy, and he just said, like, "Josh, that's what this disease does, man. When addicts use, we die. Your friend didn't kill himself. He used. So do you want to be next?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Fool, you're going through this is pretty serious, dude. This is a death, Josh. And you have 45 days clean. Like, you need to go to meetings out there." And I'm like, "Yo, but like the meetings I go to on Riverside, I can't make the drive." And he's like, "Well, go to meetings out there in the city of Indio." And I'm like, "Fuck, dude, I don't even know these people." And he's like, "You got clean 45 days ago. You don't even know us. Like, go meet these new people, save your own life." And I learned through that entire process because these members in NA and Indio, man, they loved me right where I was at. They made sure that I made it home to the motel without picking up. They followed me. They checked in with me every day, texting and calling. "Hey, we're going to a meeting tonight. You want us to pick you up?" And they showed me that like when you go to meetings and you make yourself like you just share where you're at, you allow people to love you. You allow
Yeah.
yourself to be loved. And these guys got me through an extremely tough time that I never thought that I'd ever get. I never thought I would stay clean for something like that with so little days. Even now looking back like that, I think it's pretty crazy that I
Yeah.
was able to stay clean. But that was a power greater than myself working in my life. That was me surrendering. That was another form of surrender, like, because I wanted to use, man. I wanted to just fuck this, man. I'm over here trying. I thought God was out to get me and all this shit, but I learned, man, that when you reach out, they'll get received with love. And I connected harder with my sponsor. I jumped back harder into the step work because I didn't want to be my friend. And ultimately, I always thought, like, I wonder if Jesse had a sponsor, if that would have happened. I really don't know. I don't go down the rabbit hole like that no much. All
Sure.
I know
Sure.
is like everything I do in recovery, yes, it's for me, but I feel I'm in debt to that dude Jesse. So when I sponsor a man, I think about Jesse. When I walk another guy through one of the steps, I think about Jesse. Every time I speak at a convention, I think about Jesse. I don't think people in my union truly understand. Like, I'm not saying he's been forgot about, but a lot of ironworkers have overdosed. It wasn't exactly a out of the norm thing. But
Right.
man, I thought about him every day since I got.
So, well, let me ask you, man, because like you said that earlier in the right off the rip when we started talking, is you mentioned that in the ironworking in that industry that everybody's either white knuckling it or they're in active addiction, and like I know some other industries like tree work, man, like everybody tree works methed out, and I don't know too much about the ironworking kind of industry, and I'm not trying to have you like rat out your
I
coworkers,
know
but it seems like it's a challenge, right? Is it prevalent in that union and in that type of work, like people are all kind of doing it? Is that
it's well when I say they're all doing it, I don't exactly mean they're smoking meth like I was. I mean that wasn't
okay?
that's not a normal thing. I mean they just they drink and they go to work. They don't have a problem with it.
Oh, okay, I
They
see.
can go out on the weekends and have a good time and be at work on Mondays. You know, I don't consider that an unmanageable life. And
Sure.
they don't do it like how I was doing it. And the ones
Right.
that do usually are just like me, and they would work for a few months and go to rehab or go to jail and come back and repeat that cycle. So I don't really work around too many iron workers like that today. But
Got
the
it.
ones that know
Yeah.
how to have a good time, by all means, I go out and have one for me. You know what I mean? I'm the one with the
Right.
problem. You know what I mean? So it's not
Sure.
like I'm working
Well,
on a bunch of heights.
let me ask you like this. I kind of I will say often that looking back, I'm kind of thankful that I hit rock bottom
Oh
because
yeah,
sometimes I feel like maybe a worse existence would be to kind of limp along. I'm thankful that I did hit rock bottom because if I was just managing, I feel like that would be worse for me. So a lot of times I'll talk about how that I'm grateful that I did hit rock bottom and it was clear. Like the denial phase was gone. Like yourself,
yeah,
you're 130 pounds, you got no teeth. Like I don't think it's such
yeah,
a big deal. Like it's like, pretty clear. Like I was wanted in 3 states. My mother sent me to jail for trying to cut her head off. I mean, it was written on the walls very clearly that I had a serious issue. And I look back and I'm thankful for that because it was the only way for me to turn it around. I'm so stubborn and I could be such a fool that it took all of that for me to make a change. And it took, I believe wholeheartedly that God had to put every single failure and every single pain and all those moments of crying by myself, all of that had to happen in order to be who I am now. And so, I mean, do you feel like, I don't know, let me ask you like this. Do you ever kind of get jealous of people that are managing and they're able to have a normal, like, drink on the weekends and kind of life? Like, do you kind of, no?
at first I did. At
Yeah.
first, I really did. I remember I would eat lunch a lot by myself when I went back to work. And I remember calling Billy one time, like, yo, man, they get to drink. They're drinking. And I got to be by myself. And he was just like, check it out. Like, if all your coworkers were gay, would you just start like sucking dick or what? And I was like, fuck, no. He always knew how to make me laugh. And I was like, no, like, that's not who I am. And he was like, well, you're not a user either, dude. Like, you're a recovering addict, Josh. You need to stop identifying with that and identify with the recovering addict and get honest with yourself that, yes, you get down to why are you really bothered is you just want to belong right now, right? He's like, you do belong, Josh. But for 30 minutes, you get to be by yourself. And it is what it is, dude. It is what it is. And at this point in my recovery, I don't get jealous at all when I see people using or drinking and able to manage because you were so on point about that. Like, I'm glad I'm not on the fence on whether or not I'm an addict or not. I'm glad I'm not on the fence because as a result of working the steps, I have found my purpose. My purpose in
Nice.
life is to sponsor other addicts. My purpose in
Wow.
life is to do this, what we're doing right now, to carry the
Yeah.
message to the addict, to show people, to show others. Like, I was the addict that nobody thought was going to stay clean. None of those guys, I was not very supportive in my union. And I'm very open about that. Like, is it kind of resentful? A little bit. But I wasn't very there wasn't a whole lot of cheerleading going on when Josh C was trying to get clean again.
Wow.
So I want to show the world that like you can have a job like that. If you want to use, you're going to use. And if you want to stay clean, you're going to stay clean. End of the day. An addict will not stop using unless they want to. And at that point, I really wanted to stay clean. And today I'm able to see that addiction didn't happen to me. Addiction happened for me. God used crystal meth to remove everything in my life to get me back on track with him with Narcotics Anonymous and to say, okay, this is the life this is what I want you doing for the rest of your life, which is just to help out other people. So I would rather have purpose in my life than to be able managing drinking. Do I miss it? At times, yeah, but like it's not abnormal for an addict to want to use.
Sure.
But no, man,
Well,
I like what I got.
so, all right, you've mentioned a couple of things. One, you mentioned something about speaking at conventions, and then also you just dropped the bomb that you found your purpose. And I want to know more about that. Like, you're incredibly articulate about this. And so, I'm curious, like, what has developed, and then, you've got this passion and fire in you about speaking about this exact topic, right? So what's going on these days, and how does that look? How does that look for you?
My life today is work, gym, and Narcotics Anonymous. And like not exactly in that order. I think NA comes first. But my life today, I don't have a wife. I'm 36 years old. I don't have kids. I don't mind my life right now. A majority of it going to Narcotics Anonymous because NA has given me everything. Everything positive in my life is a direct result of Narcotics Anonymous. So do I'm at a meeting every day? No, but I'd say 3-4 meetings a week I'll go to. I get asked to share my experience, strength, and hope a lot. I don't say that cocky. I don't know. Sometimes my calendar is super busy and sometimes it's not. Lately, it's been super busy. And I get to meet new people in Narcotics Anonymous. I get to meet new newcomers, new members. They told me when I got clean, find something in here that you like more than the drugs or you're not going to stay. I remember looking around the room like, okay, we're fucked. Like, there's no way I'm going to like these people more than I like smoking crystal meth. I love to smoke crystal meth. What I have
Right.
found that I like more today is I like self-esteem. I like self-respect and I like self-acceptance. I like being a respected member of Narcotics Anonymous. I like that I'm asked to hear my insight on steps 1, 2, and 3. And I can speak on any step and any tradition just because I've completely dove in like head first. Like I've been accused in my area of maybe drinking the Kool-Aid a little too fast around here. And like, that's okay, dog. Like I love my recovery, dude. And I recover out loud. That's why I don't mind doing stuff like this. I want to one day, not saying I want to make money off of this kind of stuff because this is just service. God blesses me in many, many different ways. Like I know God's got me on this somehow, some way. God's going to take care of me. But I would like to be a recovery coach because I know there's other members that are recovery coaches. So I'm actually just got this book. Start reading it. It's
Yeah.
by another member. It's just like how to become a recovery coach. And we'll just see. All I do know is if I want to be a recovery coach, I have to start somewhere. And buying a book that's going to show me how to somewhat do that, that's a start, man. I don't believe that we can just sit back and expect God to do everything for us. We need to participate. Like for you to get people on here, you had to throw it out there.
Right.
And then we leave
Right.
we do the work. We show up at 5 o'clock like we agreed to, and we just leave the results to God. Whatever happens with
Yeah.
this, Ryan, I hope it helps. I don't know.
Well, it will. I can promise you that. And there's that pursuit, right? That aim that you have. I think that's it's what I talk about often is we need an aim. You and I are cut from the same cloth that if we are not aimed at something positive, we'll just naturally drift to something
Oh
that's
yeah.
negative. Most
Oh
likely
yeah.
because of drug and alcohol. So that aim has to be sharp. And when you can get good at aiming at something good, right? And when I say what I mean by good, something useful, something
Mm-hmm.
not selfish, something that helps others. And we all, like you said it several times already, service, right? So when we aim at something like that and we go at it with that tenacity, the same tenacity that you had to get a bag of rocks or whatever, man. Like when we use that tenacity for good, right? Like it's like a bad villain and a superhero, man. Right? If you take those
Oh
same
yeah.
powers that we have and you just point it. You point it in the right direction and you go. So you pick up that book and you read it, right? And clearly you read a lot, right? And it started with that $20 purchase of the NA book. And so now you're firing through literature, you're getting your skills and you're talking about it, man. Huge. I mean, this is massive. And so hey, good on you, man. That is it's powerful. And then to your point, if we could remove ourselves from the outcome, maintain faith and show up,
Yeah.
God's gonna put
Exactly.
it.
Exactly, man. Leave the results to God, dude. Exactly. You said it so on point. Like, let go of the outcome. Like, I could say I want to be this all I can do is do the work. It's truly not up to me. God handles that kind of stuff. I can position myself in one thing I have noticed, or I've learned in recovery is if I want to be blessed, I have to be the version of myself that can handle that blessing. Because God's not going to give me something that I can't hold on to, or I'm not able to hold on to, because that wouldn't be a very loving act.
Right.
Give me something that could potentially I could fail and then want to throw my life away. Like I don't think God, in my understanding, would do that. So yeah, bettering myself in a lot of different ways. One thing that book taught me is that I'm not stupid. I can read, write, I can comprehend things. One thing the ironworks taught me is I am a hard worker. Like I am a union iron worker. I work A for A. I'm up at 3:15 to go to work. I'm never late because of Narcotics Anonymous. Like I am a damn good iron worker. I'm good at what I do.
Nice.
I love what I do. I wouldn't imagine doing anything else, man. But like I said, man, ironwork is a beautiful job. It's not my purpose. Like I would like my purpose to line up with what I get to do because I know I can't. I mean, have you ever seen like a 50-year-old tool before? Like it's pretty fucked up. So I got to really take a look at my body there. So we'll see what God's got for me, man. I'm stoked I'm just blessed to be alive. Honestly, dude, I'm blessed to be here with you. I'm blessed to be doing this. I'll get
Yeah,
another
man.
day. Life's good.
It's awesome. Well, hey, listen, yeah, you are exceptional, brother. And I can see that you're on a serious trajectory, right? Straight up and to the right. And so and that feeling, man, is so good, man. Like I'm looking at you, you're on fire, brother. It's so, so great. Well, okay. So like the recovery coach thing that's in the works, right? You're working on that. And so, I mean, I don't know, you got to get like a license or you just got to start telling people that you help. And then, I don't know, what do you think is in the works for you?
I'm on like page 4 right now. I'll let you know when I get there.
Okay.
I
All
literally
right. All
just
right.
got.
How about this? Okay, so you just so people can reach out to you. What are like, and I'll put this in black and white too, so people can reach out to you. So I put it in the show notes and all that. But what about your social handles? Are you like on Instagram and all that stuff? Like you connected with me on social media. Like
Yeah, I can give you. My Instagram is Ditchem underscore 433. That's DITCHEM underscore 433. And I'm the only one with that name, so that'll pop up. And then you can find me on Facebook, Josh Contreras.
yeah, all right. Hey man, well I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna have it in black and white. I'm gonna chop it up as we're gonna get some eyeballs on you and your stuff and your message, man. Because that's to your point, man. God doesn't want this bottled up, man. You got to let this out. And so I think that's the whole point of you and I connecting right here. So,
Yeah, man.
well, hey, you're an absolute blessing, Josh C. Right from Riverside, man. I appreciate you, brother. And this has been another episode of the Next Fix. We're doing things a little differently around here lately. And if you want to just say goodbye to everybody, let everybody know that you're out there doing good work, real quick, brother.
Just thank you for having me, Ryan, man. If you're out there and you're trying to get clean, you don't got to go to where I go to. One thing I have noticed, no matter what, if someone wants to get clean and they look at a solution, whether it be church, AA, NA, whatever, if they want it to work for them, it's gonna work for them. But you got to surrender to something, dude. Don't just surrender to the drugs, man. Surrender from the drugs and surrender to a solution, and let that
Yeah, man.
solution take you from there. So you don't got to do what I do, but you got to do something, man. So whatever you decide to do, you just keep coming back, man. And You got a story too, and the world needs to.
I love it. You got a story too, and the world needs to hear it, man. That's what I'm all about, brother. Well, hey, this has been another episode of The Next Fix. See you on the next one.